Okay, I don't usually do videos for movie reviews anymore. I usually say I write reviews of every single movie I watch on Letterbox. If I remember, I'll link my Letterbox in the description below. But I felt like I wanted to make a video for this one just because it ties into so much I love, and it's a movie that just sparked so much joy in me. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a masterpiece or anything like people are saying. But I want to talk about Fantastic Four First Steps because, I've been thinking about it for the past few days since I saw it, and it means a lot to me. And I wanted to talk about it. So, the Fantastic Four have always had a soft spot in my heart simply because they were my introduction from my earliest memory, at least, to superheroes and superhero media as a whole. Um, in my memory, and this could very well be wrong because I'm sure I watched cartoons before that and stuff like that, but in my memory, my first introduction to superheroes, period, was the Fantastic Four. I think when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I was given a Fantastic Four comic. It was the first comic I ever read, and it was like the first superhero story I have in my memory. I don't remember what issue it is. I think I found it years later and I have it, but I don't remember what issue it is. I don't remember what run it is or anything like that. But it was an issue in which Doctor Doom was like possessing members of the team and making them fight each other like against their will. And I remember that concept like fucking me up at the time and being like, oh shit, like that's, and it still kind of fucks me up when it happens in media too now. But I'll always remember that issue in that comic, and like the Fantastic Four were my gateway into the fucking drug that is superhero media, which I'm fucking addicted to. I love superheroes. My entire novel series is, in a way, it's not really, but it's in a way a superhero story. So you can tell superheroes are a huge part of my life. And they always will be. I love superheroes to death. It's just a genre and a method of storytelling I just adore. So the Fantastic Four always have a soft spot for me, even though they have not had a good adaptation ever. um, the two mid 2000s movies, like I I liked them when I was a kid. I remember enjoying them at the time, but they're terrible. Like they don't hold up. They're just something before I developed taste that I enjoyed. Like when I was a child. Um, I didn't even see the was 2014, 2015 Edgelord one. That fucking trash. Um, this adaptation finally got the Fantastic Four right. It happened. This was a very good movie. But even that, like, I had issues with the plot and everything, but it got the fucking energy of the team right. The characterization was absolutely spot on, and all of the actors did such a damn good job bringing these characters to life. They're like the exact the good parts of the comic book characters, like everything that's endearing about this team and each of these individual members, these actors managed to capture so perfectly. Like it's Johnny Storm, he can be fucking annoying, but deep down he's a really good person with a heart of gold trying to do good. And this movie captured it very well, where like sometimes he does some quips, sometimes he's a little annoying, but like you could tell from the get-go he is on board with doing good, being a hero, helping people, saving people. Like that's his like goal. He has a little bit of an annoying like exterior, but like he is a good person. And I feel like this movie does a great job. I feel like if it was earlier in the MCU and it was done at the same level of timeline like as the Avengers and not in a separate universe and separate era, like they would have fucking made Johnny Storm unbearable. But they do it very well. Ben Grimm, the Thing, one of my favorite Marvel characters. I've always had such a soft spot for him, and this movie is the best portrayal I've seen. They kind of glance over the part of his like struggle. They do it a little bit, but for the most part, they glance over the part of his struggle with his looks and his feelings about that. They like cut out Alicia Masterson completely, from this movie. He has a love interest in this movie, but she's not blind. And that whole, I think the implication here is that that whole part of his character is in the past, because this movie takes place 4 years since the start of their heroing career. So that was my interpretation. And then those are like always the two more fun members of Fantastic Four, but Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, like, God, they were so fucking such complex, interesting characters with depth that a lot of comics and adaptations seem to miss. They kind of flanderize like their own characters to be motherly superhero and world's smartest man, it's really nice to see them have so much depth and so much heart to them as characters, and they're brought to life so incredibly well. Like, this was the Fantastic Four on screen. It wasn't a shitty, like, approximation of them. It wasn't a flanderization of them. No, these were the 4 characters straight from the comic books I read as a little kid. Like, this was them. With all their depth and the complexity and what that made them so special in the first place. And I absolutely cherish that, like, a lot. And something I cherish, on this channel, like, we're insanely, like, huge fans of Disney parks. Not the movies, not the music, whatever. Disney parks, like, theme parks as a whole, are a huge passion of mine. I'm really into theme park history and theme park, and especially Disney park history. This movie was, like, and I did not know this going in, this movie was a Tomorrowland movie. I know they made a Tomorrowland movie that I never saw that was shitty, but this was a Tomorrowland movie. This captured the exact energy, aesthetic, and, like, ethos of what Tomorrowland was supposed to be at the parks. And at first, I like aesthetically, I was like, oh, like that's just, like, the same style. It's not really like that same retrofuturism style. 1960s, 50s retrofuturism style, whatever. But there was a point in this movie, they're doing a montage sort of like what the Fantastic Four have accomplished, or it's early on into the movie, what they have accomplished in the past 4 years of their time as heroes. And they start playing a music cue that I immediately recognized as the fucking original People Mover theme from Tomorrowland at Disney. And that's the music for that scene. And I was like, oh my, like, I had a brain blast in the theater that this is absolutely intentional. This is Disney. It's owned by Disney. This is intentionally supposed to be a Tomorrowland movie. Like, it all clicked for me in that scene. And I was like, oh my God, that's what this is. And there's sequences later in the movie where, like, particularly like the energy of when they go to visit Galactus, to try to bargain with him, and the whole fleeing from that sequence and everything like that felt like the energy of a Disney ride, to where it's like that same like pattern of a Disney ride where it's like, whoa, big bombastic set piece, whoa, we got to get away from this thing, let's go, whoa. And it had that, like, energy. And then everywhere else in the movie has this complete, like, Tomorrowland aesthetic vibe, music. Like, it felt like I was at fucking Tomorrowland at Disney. And then I heard that they're, like, doing a lot of Fantastic Four activations and, like, implementations at Tomorrowland, California, which was in rough shape and needed some, like, update anyway. I don't know if they're doing it in Orlando. They might be. And it all clicked for me. The reason they did this movie the way they're doing it, because they're trying to get a budget for upping California's Tomorrowland. That's my theory here of what's going on. That they made this movie the way they did and made it a Tomorrowland movie because theme park Imagineers can use movie marketing budget toward theme park projects if they tie into a specific IP. And that's why so much of the park is being IP driven lately. So it like, it totally blew my mind. It totally blew my mind when I made all those connections and my neurons activated in the theater that that's really what's going on here. And it made me love the movie all the more. So in terms of the plot itself, it's you know, it is a little hokey and contrived. It's not a perfect movie. I'm not a huge fan of villains that are I'm going to destroy the world. I like that they kind of did a little bit of explanation on Galactus to where this is an entity beyond our comprehension of what we understand as living entities, and that this is an entity that is outside our comprehension, where their biological process is essentially to consume planets. And that made it a little bit more like understandable, like, okay, this isn't a person with some motivation. No, this isn't like a living creature that feeds off of planets biologically. I don't know if that's the lore. I don't know if that it seemed like he was cursed or something, but that's like kind of what like Mr. Fantastic used to sort of explain what Galactus is. And that sort of like calmed me down a little bit on like, okay, this is another boring I'm going to destroy the world for the sake of destroying the world villain. But they did kind of give that humanity and that pathos to the Silver Surfer in this movie, who they do a female iteration of. And spoilers for the movie, essentially, you find out that she became... You're wondering, like, she seems to have a person with agency and, like, thought and decision-making. And you're wondering, like, why the hell she... like is following Galactus and doing his bidding, and then you find out later that she was she made a trade that she would be this herald for Galactus if he spared her planet specifically, and it haunts her because it's like this, and that's how eventually ultimately Johnny is able to tap into her humanity, because it haunts her that she's leaving all these other populations to death just because she was able to save her one planet. And like, you know, eventually, like, Johnny is able to tap into that, and it gives Johnny a really engaging plot and something to do that isn't annoying, which I think is a very worrisome thing for Johnny and his character that, like, a lot of adaptations fail at. They always make him this annoying, cocky playboy, and I feel like this movie, and I'm worried that, like, in ensembles, that's what he'll be, but, I feel like this movie did a very good job of making him, like, a really understanding his true, like, you know, good nature and heroism, and, like different than Mr. Fantastic, but brains nonetheless. But, yeah, there's a ton of plot holes in this movie. Why the fuck Sue goes into space when she's 9 months pregnant, probably close to or on her due date. They talk about how there's some time fluctuations with, and a lot of people were saying, like, oh, it seems like Galactus, you know, brought on the labor prematurely because he wanted Franklin. I'm worried Franklin is going to be this huge Deus Ex Machina for the next Avengers movies, but those are going to be a fucking disaster shit show mess, regardless of what good we're getting here. So who gives a fuck, really? But yeah, there's other contrivances later, like the whole final sequence is pretty contrived. And, like, at first I was like, oh, getting the world on board to do all these different things is like... Shit, sorry. I recorded my last One Piece video right before this, so I've been talking for like 40 minutes straight. But, getting the whole world on board to do things, like, at first I was like, oh, that seems kind of hokey, but, like, it fits so well with the retrofuturism vibe. Like, this is a society in which retrofuturism came to be. This is the retrofuture society where everything is more optimistic and good. And I absolutely love that. I also loved the positive Jewish representation. There could have been more. But, you know, really, like, honing in on Ben Ingram's Jewish roots and giving us some of that, especially now during these times where fucking anti-Semitism is at the highest it's been since, like, pre-World War II. It's nice to see that rep, and it's nice to see, like, it handled in a positive manner, you know. But overall, this movie was special to me. I didn't think it was perfect. I didn't think it was like a masterpiece or anything like people were saying, but it just had a special soft spot in my heart just because of, not only did it do justice to the first superhero thing I ever engaged with, but also the fucking whole it being a hidden Tomorrowland movie that appeals to me as a huge Disney history nerd, like so profoundly. Like I was like, God, like I insane that they did this. Like when that People Mover music started playing, it's immediately literally I was the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I was like, wait, what? But anyway, those are kind of like I just want to get some thoughts out there about this movie. I thought it would be nice to just talk about it verbally instead of just writing up a review. So yeah, thank you for listening.